Hey everyone, this is Chase at Rocky Mountain ATV giving you a closer look at the Battlecross lineup of tires from Bridgestone. All right, so today we're giving you a closer look at the Battlecross lineup of tires coming from Bridgestone. Many of you know we have a very big selection of tires that you can choose from. So today we're going to go through, we're going to talk about these tires, give you some good information, talk about some really cool technology that Bridgestone has with these to hopefully help you decide if one of these sets is going to be your next set of tires. Now, speaking of Bridgestone, probably one of the most common names that comes to mind when you think about dirt bike tires. They were founded by a man named Shobiro Ishibashi in Japan way back in 1931. So safe to say they've been making tires for a long time. These guys know what they're doing. So we're going to go through, we'll talk about the different 4 sets of tires that they offer in their Battlecross lineup. We'll talk about the differences between them, and we'll help you decide which one is going to be best suited for you and the type of riding that you're doing. So let's get started. All right, so first up on the table, we've got the X10 on my right, and we've got the X20 on my left. These are going to be your soft terrain tire offerings from these guys. So we'll start out with the X10. So the X10 is going to be their sand and mud tire. So they really designed this to be for your bottomless sand in your really muddy conditions. So if you ever watch motocross, maybe a race like Southwick, or if you watch GNCC, those really muddy conditions, or off-road when they have sand, this is the type of tire that those riders are going to be using. If you look at it, it's more of a hybrid style tire. If you look at the center tread blocks here, they're almost like a scoop shape, okay? So similar to a paddle tire you would have out in the dunes, and that is designed to give as much forward drive and traction as possible, again, in those really sandy, muddy conditions. So what's cool about this tire is, one, the block rigidity has been optimized by Bridgestone to give as much forward traction as possible. Now, a lot of riders, when they think of a sand tire, okay, you think of soft terrain, so they think you're gonna have a softer compound. It's actually not the case. Think if you were out in the desert and you were digging a hole with a shovel, you wouldn't want a soft, flimsy shovel. You're going to want one that's hard and rigid, and that's going to help you dig as much sand as possible. Same goes for a soft terrain tire. So again, you've got the optimized tread pattern. You can see it's more that scoop style, nice spread out lug design. That's so that mud and sand do not pack in between the lugs, so it's going to maintain your grip. And I really like these really tall side lugs you have on the side. So in those types of conditions, even when you're leaning the bike over, it's still going to help with your traction. You're also going to notice that between these center scoops, they have these extra little bars. So those are to help promote self-cleaning. So if mud, sand gets in there, these little bars just help that mud and sand not pack. And also, you're going to notice you've got these bars that go between the lugs. So those are actually at the base. That's going to help with rigidity. That's going to help with flex. Also just helps with tire wear as well. If you look at the front tire, so what's unique about the front tire, okay, pretty unique looking tread design. And that obviously is with a purpose. So the front tire, the tread lugs are pretty dang tall. They're also not as wide or as fat as you would see with a traditional off-road tire. And that has been optimized just to give as much traction and bite as possible, again, in those sandy, muddy conditions. You can see also very spread out, just like with the rear, and that's to help not pack any mud or sand in there. So that's the X10 the X10 rear and the front. Now, if we move over, we talk about the X20. This is going to be their soft terrain tire. So think of soft and loamy conditions. And there's some really cool technology that we're going to start seeing here with the X20 and forward. So with the X20, if you look at the tread design, again, nice and spread out, so sand and mud don't pack in. If you look at the center lugs, nice and tall, those are going to give really good drive. And I've actually ridden with this tire. I'm a big fan of it. I think the traction with it is excellent. But if you look at the side lugs, something really unique. It's called their castle block technology. So you can see you've got your tread lug, and then in the middle of it, you've got another smaller lug that sticks up just a little bit. So a couple purposes behind that. One, it's a second biting edge for the tread block, so it's going to give added grip. Also, it's more surface area, more contact with the ground. So you're getting more contact you have with the ground, the better traction you're going to have. And then if you look at the side lugs here, they have their convex side lugs. So these convex side lugs, the purpose behind that shape is when you're really leaning the bike over, that's going to help give that extra bite and that extra traction. And also with these castle blocks, to say you're riding in an area that's soft and loamy on top, but maybe has a hard base, well, that's where these castle block lugs are really going to come in and help give that extra bite that you're looking for. So that's going to be the X20 rear, again, soft conditions. Looking at the front tire, okay, more of your traditional style looking motocross tire. Okay, you've got your convex blocks on the side lugs with the center lugs, again, more spread out so mud and sand don't pack in there, but ultimately optimize to give as much traction as possible in those soft conditions. So that is the X10 and the X20. All right, so next up, we've got the X30, and then we'll finish it off with the X40. So the X30, it's going to be their medium terrain tire, and this is what Bridgestone really calls their do-it-all tire. And for good reason. It does really well in a wide variety of terrains. This is a tire that I've used personally, and I think it does a great job. And one thing about these tires that I think really stands out for me is the longevity. I feel like these tires with the rubber compound along with the tread design that they have, I just feel like it's a good lasting tire. But with the X30, if you're a track rider, maybe the track gets hard packed later in the afternoon, I think it transitions well there. And then for riding off-road, if then later in the day you want to go hit up some hard packed trails or maybe in some slick rock, you could do it there as well. So if we look at tread design, you can see you've got these raised center lugs, helps with forward drive, good braking and bite, but you can see you're still getting that castle block technology throughout. On the side lugs, again, there's those convex side lugs to help when you're leaning the bike over. That's going to help with your grip. And a new feature here that you're seeing with the X30 and the X40 is called their anti-degradation fins, or in other words, cooling fins. And you're actually going to see these on the inside of or on the sidewall of the tire. So what these are actually designed to do is help with heat dissipation. You know, heat and rubber, they don't play together very nicely. So when rubber starts to get hot, what it'll do is increase the air pressure inside your tire. And when that starts to happen, you don't get the consistent performance that you're looking for. So by having these cooling fins along the inside of the sidewall, or excuse me, the outside of the sidewall, it's just gonna help dissipate heat to give you more consistent performance. So I think it's a really cool technology that Bridgestone is putting into this tire. So that's the X30 rear. Now if we look at the front, okay, what I like about this, we've been seeing this with all the tires, I haven't talked about it yet, but you can see you've got these dimples. Now the purpose with these dimples is when that tread lug is contacting the ground, it adds a little bit of flex to the top of the lug, so it just helps give a little bit more bite, a little bit more traction. But a unique feature about the X30 front is their asymmetric design. So if you actually look at the tire and look at both sides, it's not the exact same tread design on each side, so it's gonna be kind of offset. And the reason for that is just to enhance and optimize the amount of grip and traction that you're getting, regardless of the side that you're gonna be turning to. So asymmetric design with the X30 front. All right, so last up to finish it off, we've got the X40. So the X40 is gonna be their hard terrain tire. So if you're an off-road rider, you ride in rocky conditions, trail riding, I know a lot of riders here at Rocky Mountain that really like this tire down in Moab and slick rock. And that's because if you look at the tread design, you can see the tread lugs compared to the X30 are even closer together. And by having those closer together, that just means that you're gonna have more rubber touching the ground at any point. You're gonna get that castle block technology just like the X30, but what's cool, if you look at the side lugs, okay, the X30 has the dimples, but the side lugs on the X40 actually had that castle block technology. And the purpose for that is obviously with hard packed terrain, you need as many biting edges as possible to maintain that grip. And so that's why they've actually put that castle block on the side lugs as well. And if you look at the sidewall, just like with the X30, you're gonna get those cooling fins. Again, that's gonna help just keep consistent air pressure and more consistent performance. If we look at the front tire, okay, similar to the X30, but you're gonna have more tread lugs, they're gonna be spaced closer together. Again, optimize the amount of rubber contacting the ground. And just like with the X30 we saw, you're gonna have that asymmetric tread design that's gonna help optimize your grip with cornering as well as braking. All right, so there they are. Those are the Battlecross tires coming from Bridgestone. Just a quick recap. You've got the X10 for your soft, bottomless sand and mud. You've got the X20 for your soft conditions, X30 for medium, their do-it-all tire, and the X40, that's gonna be for hard terrain. If you guys have any other questions, you can leave your comments below, but a great place to ask your questions is on the product page. If you ask your questions there, you will get answers from customers who have bought and are using these exact tires. And also, if you've used any of these that we talked about today, I would love it. Comment below. Tell us what you like about it, maybe what you don't like about it. That's really gonna help other people out who are looking to buy a set of these. To pick yours up, just click on the link at the end of this video. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and that will keep you up to date and in the loop on the latest videos that we are constantly rolling out at Rocky Mountain. I am Chase. We'll see you on the trails.